All right, so we are looking at page 88 in our student journal, section 4.3. What our goal is today is to be able to divide polynomials, to divide two polynomials. We've already talked about how to multiply polynomials, but now we're talking about dividing. I don't want you to write out these step-by-step instructions. It'll just take too long. It's not that difficult, but if you get confused, you can always come back and watch these video notes, and you can write this down or refer to it if you need to. The two ways we're going to be dividing today, one way is called polynomial long division, and the other way is called synthetic division. Another thing we're going to be looking at is something called the remainder theorem. The remainder theorem says that if we have a function and we divide by x minus k, then the remainder is the same thing as the y value. Let me explain what this means again. So if I have x squared minus 3x minus 5, let's say, and I am dividing by x minus 2, I'm just going to do this really quickly with synthetic. I know it won't make sense right now, but I want to see what this remainder is. This would be the remainder. So because I was dividing by x minus k, what this tells me, this is my remainder. So this tells me that when x is 2, that y is going to be negative 7. That whole thing that I just did tells me that. And I'll come back to that later. All right, so we're going to do this problem by using both methods. We're going to use long division first. So with long division, I have to say this is what I'm having as my dividend, because it says to do p of x divided by f of x. So this goes inside. And this is what we're dividing by, is x plus 1. We do this just like we do long division with numbers. It's the same process. When we were doing the warm-ups, when we were doing long division, the first thing we did is we said, what's this divided by that? So what is x to the third divided by x? What does that give us? X squared. So x squared goes here. What do we do next? After we've divided in long division, what do we do next? Let me go to a division problem. Let's say I'm doing 87 divided by 3. I would do 8 divided by 3 is 2. Now what do I do? Multiply, right? So same thing here. I divided and now I multiply. So I multiply x squared by x, and that gives me x cubed. I also have to multiply x squared times 1, and that gives me 1x squared. You don't need to write this one down, but just let me show you. So after I multiply, now what do I do? Subtract. Same thing here. I'm going to have to subtract this whole thing. So x cubed minus x cubed, that's just 0. Negative 2x squared minus 1x squared is negative 3x squared. After I subtract over here, what do I do next? I bring the 7 down. Okay, so I bring the 7 down. Same thing over here. I'm going to bring the x down. Okay, so now what would I do over here at this point? I would divide again, right? Okay, so same thing here. I would divide again. So what I've done is I've divided, I've multiplied, I subtracted, and I brought down. So now I go back up to the top and I divide. So what is negative 3x squared divided by x? Negative 3x. This is x times x. The x cancels. So I have a negative 3x left. So now I just divide it. So now I have to multiply. So I'm going to multiply what I just put here by this whole thing. So I have to do negative 3x times x. I have to do negative 3x times 1. What do we do after we divide? We just did multiply, sorry. What do we do now? Subtract. So I have to do negative 3x squared minus a negative, and I have to do 1x minus a negative. Well, this is going to be 0, and here I have 1x plus 3x, which is 4x. So now I just subtracted. What do we do now? Bring down the 1. Did that. So now I'm back up to the top. Divide. So I have to do 4x divided by x. What is that? 4. So I put plus 4. Now whatever I put here, I have to multiply by this. So 4 times x, 4 times 1. So I just multiplied, and so now I have to subtract. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So here's my answer then. My answer is, my quotient is going to be x squared minus 3x plus 4, remainder of negative 3. Or I can write it as x squared minus 3x plus 4 plus negative 3 over my divisor. That's 2 ways to write that answer. My quotient and my remainder, my quotient plus my remainder over my divisor, what I was dividing by. Okay? All right, now we're going to do this problem by synthetic division. Same problem. Here's how we do it. First we look here. We're still trying to divide these. I have to think what value of x will make that 0. What value of x will make that 0? What is it? That's my divisor. Now I write the coefficients of my dividend. So my coefficients are 1, negative 2, 1, and 1. Look again. Coefficients 1, negative 2, 1, 1. This is done differently. The first thing I do is I bring down this first number. I'm going to bring down this first number. And now it's just the same thing over and over. I'm going to multiply, add. So I'm going to multiply, add. And then I'm going to multiply, add, and multiply, add. Just watch, guys. It'll make sense. I take this number that I brought down and I multiply it by this. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Now I add. This number that I just got, when I added, I'm now going to multiply. And now I'm going to add. This number that I have, I'm going to multiply. And now I'm going to add. Okay, I'll do another one. It'll make so much sense, I promise, once we do a few of them. Okay, just watch. Right here, this is the remainder. Okay, this is the remainder. This is my constant term. We'll just call it CON. This is my x term, and this is my x squared term. So see what my answer should be? 1x squared minus 3x plus 4, remainder negative 3. See how we got the same answer as when we did polynomial long division? We got the same exact answer as when we did polynomial long division. All right, let's do another synthetic. Let's go over here. It's okay, guys. Just hang in there. Let's look at number 6. All right, tell me what it is that would make my divisor equal 0. Negative 2. That goes in the box. I look at my coefficients. What's the first coefficient? 1. Next one. Next one. Next one. What do I do first? Whatever makes this equal 0, this is my divisor. Whatever makes that equal 0, that's what goes in the box. So now I have to bring this down. Then I said over and over, we go mama, over and over. You go multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So we're going to multiply. When we multiply, we get -2. I add when I'm going in this direction. I multiply these two. I get -4. I add. I multiply. I get -4. I add. What did I say this spot represents? Remainder. This is the remainder. This is going to be my constant term. This is my x term. This is my x squared term. So my answer is x squared plus 2x plus 2 with no remainder. Do you feel like you can do it now?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to set you up on this one, and then you're going to finish it. What is it that would make this equal 0? -3 goes in the box. I have to look at my coefficients. I have a 2. Now, what's my coefficient of x squared? 0. You need to put the 0 or it will not work. What's the coefficient of x? And then we have the constant. Go ahead and do it on your own. I will be doing it up here.
Wait, is the -3 times -4 positive? Oh, wait, how are we doing that? Never mind.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Good job. Do you need help?
No, I need help. I got it.
What's wrong, Hallie? What happened? Tell me your numbers. Do you have a 2 here?
I have 6.
You have to just bring this down. That's what you're not doing. The first thing you do is bring this down. Once you bring it down, then you multiply and add. Multiply and add. Multiply and add. Okay? Do we need to do another one? Some people are like, no. All right, we'll do another one when we get to the other page. But let's go up here for just a minute, and let's do one with polynomial long division. Let's look at number 2. Look, guys, you have to check out this divisor. Can I solve that and set it equal to 0 and solve it? I can, but am I going to get one answer? I would get 2 answers. I would get 4 and -4. Because of that fact, I cannot use synthetic. I have to use long division. Now, could I solve this one for set it equal to 0 and solve? Yeah, I would put a 3 in the box. I'm not going to do that one. This one I could even do by synthetic, but what would go in the box? -1/4. This one, would I get a single answer? I'd have to use long division. So on these two, I would have to use long division. Let's do this one with long division. This is my divisor. That goes on the outside. This is my dividend. This goes on the inside. The first thing we do is we look here and here and we divide. X cubed divided by x squared is x. Now I have to multiply. X times x squared is x cubed. Now watch this, guys. X times -16 is -16x. But I'm not going to put that here. I'm going to put negative 16x here. Why? Yes, they're like terms, and I'm going to have to subtract now, right? So I want it to be lined up so I can subtract. So I'm going to subtract this, and I'm going to subtract this by adding the opposite. That's how we subtract. So now, when I do this, I get 16x here. But this hasn't been used, so that has to come down. Now I divide. What is negative 4x squared divided by x squared? Negative 4. So now I have to do negative 4 times x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 16 is positive 64. Look where I put it. See why I didn't put it there? Because they're not like terms, so I had to put it here. So now I'm going to have to bring down this 0. What do I do now? Subtract. So I can just change the signs and add. That's 0. This is 16x. And then I'm going to have minus 64. So this is going to be the remainder because I can't divide anymore. I can't do 16x divided by x squared. So my answer is x minus 4, that's my quotient, remainder of 16x minus 64. Or I could even write it like this. I could do that too. All right? Okay, let's go over here to the next page, and we're going to just practice one more synthetic. Yeah.
On the last one,
Yep.
when you wrote the remainder as like fraction, would you simplify like the...
I was just looking at that because you could factor a 16 out, and you could have x minus 4, and this is x minus 4x plus 4. So yeah, you really could. I wasn't going to get into that because I don't want to confuse people, but yeah. Okay, guys, let's look at 14. What do you notice about this one when we're dividing? It's already solved for x, right? We don't have to solve it for x. It already says x equals negative 1. So I just put negative 1 in the box. Do you see the difference? Up here, what would I put in the box? 4. But here it's already telling me x equals negative 1. Put that in the box. Use your coefficients. Negative 1, now what? 0, good. Then 1, then 0, then 4. Read the directions. Use synthetic division to evaluate the function for the indicated value of x. I'm trying to find out when x is negative 1, what's y? The remainder tells me what y is. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So the answer is when x is negative 1, y is 4. Or I could even say f of negative 1 equals 4. See, look, guys. Watch this. This is kind of cool. If I have this in my calculator, I could look at my table of values. And it tells me that when x is negative 1, y is 4. See how that's what it's telling me right there. All right, you guys try one now. You guys try, let's do number 16 here. I'll be doing it up here if you want to check. Did you get 78? I made that little arithmetic mistake. All right, so we get 78. Good. Okay, let's come down here. Last one. What is the value of k such that this has a remainder of 0? All right, well, what is it that's going to make this 0? So we put 4 in the box. We've got -1, 0, 5, k, and -8. So I'm going to bring this down. I get -1, -4, -4, -16, -11. Now watch this. When I multiply these, I get -44. I cannot add these two. So I have to just leave it as k minus 44. That's all I can do when I add those. Now I have to multiply, and I get 4k minus 176. Now I have to add these two. I get 4k minus 184. What would I do now? Tim?
Solve for k, so 4 minus 1 equals 0.
Right. I would set that remainder equal to 0. So 4k is 184. Guys, watch how you can divide this without grabbing a calculator. 18 divided by 4 is 4 with 2 left over. 24 divided by 4 is 6, so it's 46 for k. All right, any questions on that? Do you feel like you can do synthetic division now?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So you have your assignment. It's on the board. It's also online.